Now, while the U.S. is getting ready to vote in the midterm elections, the dramatic Kavanaugh hearings and the Senate committee approval moments that happened just a few moments ago have largely taken over the recent American political rhetoric. But in the backdrop of the Kavanaugh hearing, a familiar name is on tour in an effort to get citizens to vote. That person, Michelle Obama. She is on tour right now. It is her first since leaving the White House 2 years ago. It's all on behalf of an organization called When We All Vote. She launched that organization back in July. Let's bring in our senior U.S. correspondent, Michael Shure, who joins us live now from a Get the Vote event in Miami, as well as Wendy Patrick, who is an attorney and is joining us now live from Baltimore as well. So good afternoon to both of you. Michael, tell us a little bit more about what this organization is doing that Michelle Obama started recently.
It's basically something she's doing around the country to try and get more people out to vote. Midterm elections are difficult times to get people to vote, so raising the energy of that, and nothing, of course, raises the energy of voters as much as the Supreme Court hearing that's happening in the backdrop, to these midterm elections. But Michelle Obama is here. She was in Vegas earlier this week. She's trying to get people motivated to come out and vote, particularly in the gubernatorial and senatorial elections here in Florida. But as well, there's a lot of congressional activity happening here as they try and flip the House. But again, today is all about Brett Kavanaugh, and I'm sure she'll mention that as well, and why voting is important to who sits on the courts, not just the Supreme Court, but throughout the judicial system in the United States, Eli.
Right, we'll get to more about Michelle Obama in just a moment, but of course the overwhelming political story today is about Brett Kavanaugh. So Wendy, I want to ask you, what are the legal implications of what went down today in that vote?
Well, it wasn't a surprise, really, what the vote was. The surprise was the Republican senator from Arizona coming forward and asking for a one-week delay. Now, why did he do that? Yes, many Republicans and certainly Kavanaugh supporters thought he gave a great performance yesterday. But when it comes to what actually is going to translate into votes, it's not about momentum. It's about math. And those undecided senators, some of whom no doubt are talking behind closed doors, some of them probably are really putting on the pressure to say, why not a short delay? After all, it happened in the Anita Hill case. And in fact, the Democrats really stepped up and said, look, we are not trying to push this past the midterms. Even Lindsey Graham, who, by the way, should have been the one hired to do the cross-examination yesterday, even he came forward today and said this is democracy in action. So what's going to happen now is, while this will be forwarded to the entire floor, they're going to have to decide whether or not to take everybody up on that one-week delay that Senator Flake thinks it would be helpful. It would be helpful to the undecided votes. He needs those votes in order to get Kavanaugh confirmed. Then the pressure will shift to the Oval Office to see if the president, remember, this is about separation of powers as well, will the president agree, he's the only one that has the authority to do it, to allow a one-week investigation by the FBI?
Wendy, this situation resembles in so many ways what we saw back in 1992 with the hearing for Justice Clarence Thomas, when Anita Hill came forward with allegations of sexual misconduct as well. And at that time, it seemed like the U.S. was in a different state of mind. Now we have the Me Too movement. We have so many things that are really highlighting this issue of sexual misconduct. First, for you, how have things changed? And also, Wendy, I don't have to tell you, you're in the U.S., you see the kind of partisanship that has become the norm in so many ways. Are we possibly seeing a break in the way that the committee handled the hearing today in that partisanship between Republicans and Democrats?
A lot of great questions there. Let me try to take them one at a time. Yes, we live in a different time than back in 1992. We live in a time where women are encouraged, inspired, and empowered to come forward if they've been victimized. Women and men, by the way, because of the Me Too movement. On the other hand, there's a huge difference between the Anita Hill investigation and the one into Brett Kavanaugh. We're talking about when this man was 17 years old. 36 years ago. This is not something that happened when he was working in office, when he was working in any office. In fact, Brett Kavanaugh passed six FBI background checks. Most people joke they couldn't pass one. None of these allegations came up then, so that's also another big distinction. The other question you asked, I think, is also a good one. Partisanship today seems to be so polarizing. That is precisely why the fact that there were Democrats and Republicans working together today to pitch this idea of a one-week, at least a one-week investigation. In fact, they said it's going to be no more than 1 week, might behoove both sides in order to have a better vote. Now, as a practical matter, I've been a prosecutor and a criminal defense attorney. What are they going to find? Probably nothing. What might it do? Give more accusers time to come forward. Those are the concerns that both sides have, and that's one of the reasons the president might decide, hey, I'm not going to authorize it. You're going to vote this week, and then again, we go straight down party line, but the narrow, razor-thin line there, it's just not a guarantee that he's going to be confirmed if they don't indulge the Democrats just this one little bit.
Michael, you are at an event right now, surely with a lot of women who are interested in voting. Now, how could this entire Kavanaugh hearing and saga affect people voting in the midterms, especially women?
It's hard to say. It's too soon. It's happening sort of in real time, so you don't have the chance to let these things sort of sink in. But I want to talk a little bit, Lauren, about what Wendy just said and the different permutations that can happen. I was there at the hearing yesterday. I've been sourcing it all day today, and a lot of people are thinking that Jeff Flake either switched his demeanor on this. He woke up and said that he's a yes vote for Kavanaugh. He was approached by two women in an elevator in the Senate in a public way who were saying that you need to rethink this. But it was also his colleague Chris Coons, the Delaware Democrat, who, when he heard that he's a, remember, a Democrat, Flake is a Republican, when he heard that Flake was going to vote yes on this nomination, actually became emotional in front of reporters. When Flake heard about that, reached out to Coons. The two are very good friends, and I think that there was sort of a reckoning that there needed to be a delay here. The president, yes, could, because he is the president, revoke the nomination. He could order a vote. Mitch McConnell, though, would say, listen, Mr. President, we can't have a vote. If we have a vote, we are not going to get this nominee passed. That could be what both of them want, to get the headache behind them. But if McConnell thinks that he has the votes, he's going to bring a vote as soon as he knows he has those votes. But right now, Jeff Flake could be serving as cover for other Republicans who are sort of hesitant to come out and support this nomination until they hear more. People are hearing from their constituents, and I spoke to Republicans yesterday who are actually hearing in an uneven way people who responded better to Ford's testimony than Kavanaugh's yesterday. So there's a lot going on here. It's a very fluid situation. Of course, people here in Florida aren't going to be talking about that necessarily, other than what their immediate knee-jerk reaction was to the hearings. But what happened, it's real sort of high drama there. Mitch McConnell really controls whether or not they can have a vote. As it trickles down, though, it's Jeff Flake who can say, hey, listen, Mr. Majority Leader, I have enough support. I've heard enough now. I will vote yes on the floor. As of now, he will not vote yes, according to him. If you take him at his word, he will not vote yes on Brett Kavanaugh's nomination on the floor of the Senate. They won't bring that to a vote unless they know that he will.
And that is very true to form regarding Mitch McConnell, because if he has the opportunity, he will plow right through and get the votes that he needs. He's made that very clear in the days leading up to the mess that we've really seen over the past week. Now, my question for you, Wendy, I want to talk about Senators Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, because both are Republicans and both are very sensitive to sexual misconduct allegations. Now, Susan Collins often comes out and she says, I don't really agree with the way things are going. Let's wait and see. Then she jumps on the Republican bandwagon and sides with so many people who don't necessarily take her original stance. What is the chance, and I'm sorry to do this, we have 40 seconds, that both of those senators may jump to the other side of the aisle and not support Kavanaugh?
I think it's slim. I don't think they're going to do that. But I do think they'll feel better about their votes. And remember, they're better about their constituents watching them vote if there's a couple of days in order to do this investigation. But I do not see them absolutely revoking. Remember, they also voted for Neil Gorsuch. Now, we didn't have the same kind of allegations. But I think the chances are low. I think Kavanaugh will be confirmed. The only issue is it going to be with or without an inconclusive FBI investigation.
Michael, is Trump still going to continue to support Kavanaugh in the same fashion that he has been up until now?
As of now, he's been a little bit, Lauren, a little bit of arm's length from this right now. He has said that he doesn't, he's going to let the Senate work this out. As the Senate progresses, he will monitor the situation. He doesn't seem to be sort of putting a heavy foot on the metal there in order to get that moving. So right now, he's doing something uncharacteristic, sitting back a little bit. But he will chime in if, in fact, this gets delayed too long, and if they find nothing. You can be sure that you'll hear from President Trump. Lauren?
All right. Wendy Patrick joining us from Baltimore, and of course our very own Michael Shure joining us from Miami, where he is with former First Lady Michelle Obama, and where she is campaigning to try to get out the vote, which is something that is very important in this upcoming U.S. midterm election.